ashes melted back to life. Done my time and served my sentence. Dress me up and watch me die. If it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. I'm taking back the crown. I'm all dressed up and naked. I see what's mine and taken.
Oh, that gets you going right there. That music kind of gets you pumped up and ready for this thing to get started. And as you can see, we got a big fight fixing to happen behind me, so we got a lot to go into with this show tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. Return guest, and it's got a current campaign, so we're definitely going to be discussing that. That will not be bypassed by any means. We're going to talk about some other things that are going on as well, and find out who the man behind the sword actually is. So before we get too far into this, let's go ahead and get off of this pretty face and go ahead and bring someone else up on here. Let's go ahead and get the unstoppable man, Henri Compton.
What's up, my brother? Dude, that was the best intro ever. I feel like if I ever am like going into like a boxing ring, that's gonna be my fight music. You know, man, that was great.
Hey, I'm glad you enjoy it, man. It's good to have you back. It's been too long, man.
I appreciate it. It's great to be back, and I love your choice of attire for tonight. It couldn't be.
Yes, it was just, it was laying around, and I just decided to go ahead and pick it up for, it was just there.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Every time you're repping like that, it means so much to me. You're now my walking billboard. I appreciate that.
Well, exactly. But also, if we had the same background, you do realize if they glanced at this just real quick, we would look like twins up here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Though you have a much bushier goatee than I do,
and much more white. Yes. Yeah,
well, you know what? It's wisdom.
we will go with wisdom. Yes, because I've learned stuff. Yes, possibly. Hey, speaking of learning stuff, you've got a lot going on with this series, with other things that you've been working on, other series that you've had in the past. We're going to be delving into that as well. But first thing that I want to do is I want to start out right out of the punch, right out of the gate on this one. For one thing, I consider you to be one of the greatest salesmen that are out there because you have the backing, the following, and it shows at con after con after con. So I got to know, give me that salesman elevator pitch. Whenever they come to your table, why do they walk away with everything you've got and you've got nothing but empty boxes? Give it to me.
Well, first off, it's very simple. I hold them at gunpoint and I just tell them, if you don't buy stuff from me, it's or else kind of a thing. And so they just, pull out their money from their wallets and hand it to me. And, I figure, since I'm taking their money, I might as well just give them the box.
Be the good guy for once. Yeah.
Be the good guy for once. Good-ish guy.
Good-ish, yes.
Honestly, what I do is I wait until I make eye contact. And this is the difference between what I do out on a convention floor is not pulling people, it's making eye contact and connecting with people. So when someone walks by my booth, I always ask them a question like, the likelihood of them saying no to it is really unlikely. It still happens, but nevertheless. And the question is, can I tell you about my comic and would you like a free bookmark? The bookmark is there regardless of anything, and it's free. So who's going to turn down a free bookmark? People who don't like bookmarks or people who don't like reading. And there's still plenty of people who turn it down, but I'm not looking for the people who are going to turn it down. I'm looking for the people who are going to be interested in buying my book. So if I got you to at least stop and hear my pitch, I basically pull out all my books and I tell them that Yi Sun-shin's about a Korean admiral that battled the Japanese in the 1500s. He was outnumbered 10-1 and he beat them 23 times in a row and never lost a single battle. And then I just go into the deal that we got going on for the book. And I tell them, I'll sign every book for you. And, I always like to give people deals when we're at cons because I think that comic cons are very expensive, when you factor in all the traveling and the costs of getting a signature and the costs of your hotel and all this stuff, food, all these things. I'm not an attraction at a convention. And I learned that very early on. I still do not feel like I'm an attraction, even though I've been doing this for 12 years. 10 years from now, I'll still have that same mentality because my goal when I hit the convention floor is new readers. It's always going to be new readers. I want new people. I want new eyes. And this is the greatest way to provide an excellent experience for them. And it's solely about providing the best service I can to the fans and making sure that they don't just buy the book and throw it off on the side. They buy the book and they remember meeting the creator, and next year they'll come back and get more. Or they'll, stay in touch with me. And that's the most important thing. I want an ongoing relationship with everybody I interact with, both at conventions and on my live stream sales shows too.
Excellent. Now, we're talking about you being at cons and everything, and that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about, because I want to know the numbers on this now, because every time I see the post on this, it even gets me all kinds of excited. It's not even my brand or anything on this, but we see this all the time on a post on there. And right behind
I like that one. That is awesome. I want to get that branded so I can put it on a box. That's
and
awesome.
Right behind this, we see this.
Dang right. Darn tootin'.
So let us know. I mean, how many times have you sold out of your products that are out there and emptied these boxes at different cons? Because that's a huge accomplishment to be doing consecutively.
I appreciate it. Well, first and foremost, let me just let me remove all the illusions that it was a consecutive sellout. But some shows have been consecutive, right? But I don't sell out at every convention. In the 12 years that I've been doing this, I've sold out at exactly 103 conventions. I probably didn't sell out at about 20 of them. And that's just me. That's just me shooting from the hip. But sellouts are designed mainly for conventions that I have experience in. And what I'm always trying to do is not bring like 10 copies of a book. I tend to bring about anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 books. And when I was in Dragon Con in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, I brought 1,543 books with me, and I sold everything within the 4-day period of the show. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Like I was at Heroes Con back in June, and I brought 300 graphic novels with me, and I didn't sell out, but I sold 279 graphic novels. Maybe it was a little less than that. It was probably like 243. I don't remember anymore. Regardless, I didn't sell out, right? And that's okay, because I think the purpose of what I'm doing is to show that if you put your mind to something, no one can stop you. There are so many times throughout my career that I've received feedback from publishers, from retailers, and everything, that my series didn't have what it took to really get to that next level. And I realized after a certain point that they didn't get to dictate that. I dictate that. Mm-hmm. And I just started really hitting the shows harder and harder. And I kept, seeing the results in my efforts. And it's been a steep climb up a very steep hill, mountain.
Oh yeah. But sometimes that's the best one to savor, is whenever it actually works and you get that positive move across there. That's the one you want to savor more than the one that you actually can just step over a small crack.
Well, I have to tell you, even after 103 convention sellouts, I still can't believe it. Like, I remember when I was at Dragon Con and I finally sold out, it was like, and the thing is timing is everything, right? You don't want to sell out by Saturday. I was doing that in my earlier years, like in 2014, and I realized that's not pushing myself. That's not pushing myself to greater heights. And it's not manufactured, because I wouldn't be able to afford doing it if I wasn't producing the results. Like, traveling to these cons is extremely expensive. Like Emerald City Comic Con cost me $2,500 just to do the show. So I'm already out $2,500 just to be there, just to have all my stuff splayed up and everything. So I'm going to fight like tooth and nail, because everything depends on it. That's what it is. And that's my time to really, really grind and really push for getting my books out to as many people as possible. And it's a great incentive too. You're out $3,000 there. You have one chance to make your money back. How are you going to do it? Are you going to come there and cry about everything? Are you going to sit behind your table and whine because everybody's walking past you, or are you going to get out there and keep pushing? And the truth is that people can't say no forever. You know, I go through, and there are times when there's a long block of time, like say 45 minutes, where people just walk by and I don't see a single sale. And it's discouraging and it sucks. But I just say to myself every single time, you guys can't say no forever. I'll just keep at this. It's fine. And when I know that I've had enough, like it's mentally breaking me down, which is important. I think that it's important for all creators to be mindful of the fact that we're human still, no matter how much we try and, you know, pretend that we're beyond something else. And when you realize that you've had enough, it's important to take a step back and maybe go for a walk, go to the bathroom, sit down at your table, you know, listen to something, meditate. You know, I've been meditating a lot lately, and it's helped me find a lot of clarity and balance. And you know, I think everybody should be meditating. It's a really great method of focusing and centering yourself and realizing that everything, this too shall pass. This feeling of rejection, this feeling of inadequacy, and this feeling of being so small. Because if you just stay with it, you'll see the results. It's inevitable.
Exactly. And we're going to show some of the artwork for just a moment here, but I wanted to talk to you in the background because they can see the artwork, but they can hear us.
Yeah.
So the first one I want to bring up is this one here, which I find very interesting. This was from the original arc, correct?
Yeah. So this is from Warrior and Defender number 4. This is actually pages 34 and 35. I can look at any page of the book and tell you what page number it is. And it's a setup to the Battle of Hansando, which was one of the 4 greatest naval battles ever fought in world history. And Yi Sun-shin managed to really just demolish the Japanese. But just a little backstory. He was in this situation where he was going up against this Japanese admiral named Wakizaka Yasuharu. And Wakizaka had a record of being undefeated in battle. He was one of the fiercest samurai leaders in Japan, and you know, never defeated. You know, just this perfect record. And just a few weeks prior to this battle and facing Yi Sun-shin, he was outnumbered 10-1 against Korea, because they managed to amass this huge land force, and he destroyed them. He killed them all, and so everything was hanging in the balance at this battle at Hansando, and Yi Sun-shin really depended on an alliance from the other branches of the Navy, and he didn't have it. So you had only 15 ships up against Wakizaka's fleet of 50. And what ends up ultimately happening is he puts this huge deception together, which you can read about online, and it just ended in like one of the greatest massacres in history. It's insane. And it was such a great battle because it was such a huge embarrassment for Wakizaka. I mean, like, you know, he there was no way for him to save face after that. He just got the thrashing of a lifetime up against someone who was like rather untested in combat. So this is just one spread here, and what we're seeing across the landscape on the horizon is Wakizaka's fleet. We're meant to feel just how large and unstoppable they seem, and we're setting up the deception here of what happens. So you'll have to read the book, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but the way we played it out is great. Hey,
exactly.
You're trying to stand out from me.
I'm just saying that they look like pirate ships. So for some reason, my hair grew spontaneously. Today is Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I just haven't gotten the quite lingo on there. So I'm doing the best of, which is dressed like a pirate.
Which is great, you know, because honestly, one of the commanders in Japan was a pirate. He was a pirate commander. So, you know, they're out there.
There you go.
Those pirates are.
Arr. That's about as good as it gets today. I've been trying all through the day, and I just can't get it right on that. But we're going to move forward on here before I start, you know, zeroing in on some booty on here that I want to get, because I've got some of my own personal booty here. No, it's not that kind of show. I've actually got some product I'm going to show here in a little bit. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Here's the next one that I wanted to show on here real quick. You can talk about that one.
Oh yeah. So this is the first opening spread in Hunter and Destroyer 1, which is the third and final arc of our series. Lots of build up to this, but it's just one scene that I really enjoyed working on with my cohort, David Anthony Kraft, who's no longer with us. He passed away from COVID last year, and this latest issue of Yisun Shin was the last book he ever worked on. And for those of you guys who don't know who Dak is, David Anthony Kraft, that's his full name, Dak for short. He worked on She-Hulk, The Defenders, just did so much stuff for both Marvel and DC over the years. Had his own comics magazine. He interviewed other creators, but that specific scene, we always wanted to have a scene where Yisun Shin was on horseback, leading an attack on the Japanese. And we were able to put something together because, according to history, it actually happened. He was taking this small base from the Japanese. It became his main headquarters in the final year of the war. And it was a complete surprise attack. No one ever thought that the Korean Navy would ever pull off a land strike, and they did. And it was absolutely it was a huge massacre.
See, that's one thing that I want to bring up is the comics are absolutely stupendous, but the fact that you're so much of a historian on this and that you get excited talking about the actual history based behind, what's on this is amazing, because you're true to it the whole time. Like, I'm serious. Every time you can tell this story a million times, and every time I've seen you tell it, you get excited every single time. And that is cool to see that, because you always want, it's not a matter of just getting excited about your brand because you want some money. It's because you actually believe in the product and the story that's there, the pulse that's behind what you put in there. That I like.
Yeah, I agree. To say something that what gets me so excited about it is the man himself. Like, when you look at history on the whole, and especially if you look at what's going on in the news and everything around us right now, heroism is a really hard thing to find. We look at it from our local communities, but on a grander scale, it's kind of hard to find, because a lot of people who are in power are, self-motivated. And it's very rare that you see people like, for example, Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, who had a chance to leave his country and, evacuate, but decided, no, I'm going to stay and fight with my people. And very much the same way, he embodies the spirit of Yisun Shin and what Yisun Shin stood for. And that's something that I think can inspire people. And that's why I will always speak about it, Admiral Yu, with such admiration and such energy.
And one thing that I can say is, this is coming from, how do I put this? The things that I'm saying about this, of course, Henri and I have discussed about this for almost 3 years now. We've been kind of getting started into all this. Is whenever I started with you on it. And I started into all of this as a fan. One of the first series that I picked up is right here. And this is actually the trade paperback. This is one. And then here is the second arc. And then I have issue number 1 of the final arc.
Yeah, the final arc.
And then I still need 9 and 10 for the floppies on there. And I'm probably going to end up doing the trades anyway, just because, I'm OCD and this, and that's why you make this kind of stuff. So I have to get it. Here's the gun to the head thing. I know. See, I see how you do it.
Oh, no, it's even worse now. I don't have guns anymore. I now have mounted cannons. It must remain fortified at all costs.
There you go. But it's a series that you can read into, that you learn quite a bit. You feel what's going on in there. It's based on history, so you get the feeling of what was going on in that era with people that are there. You get the pulse of it. I've said it time and time again on a lot of my shows that it's all about the passion you put into your work. And you and your partner who passed away, I'm telling you right now, Dak did an amazing job with you on this, giving it the pulse that it's got on there. And trust me, those of us that knew whenever he passed away, we felt it as well, especially whenever you read into this and then see that happen. It hit a lot of us. And I know it hits you really hard with that. And I know this has been a big thing for you to go through and push yourself to make sure this is complete and that what he realized and what his vision was on here was actually done. And I commend you up above and beyond for that.
Yeah, it was really hard. I'll never forget the day he passed away. It was just such a unexpected and unfortunate circumstance. And I wish he was here. I miss him every day, and it was so utterly tragic what happened. He got COVID,
Yep.
and he was fighting it for a long time. It was about 3 weeks before it finally took him. And I was talking with his wife. We were going back and forth, and there were some days where I thought, okay, we've turned a corner. She told me, hey, we're looks like things are going well. He's on the mend. And then things would get worse, and then they get better, and then they get worse, and then they got worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
And as they were getting worse, he was still trying to scramble and get things together. And it was like he was working and he was cognizant up until the very end. And I knew at one point when he just said to me, regarding a 2-page spread, he goes, "You make the decision." I knew at that point that he had given me control of the series and that it was up to me now to see it through. And 2 days later, he passed away. And when I heard the news, it was about 5 in the morning. I just woke up because I had a hard time sleeping, and his wife had sent me a text message telling me that he was gone. And I broke down into tears, and that whole day I was, I was crying. And I made a promise to him then and there that I would see it through. And it took me a long time because it was like another 6 months before we finished the artwork within a month, but the coloring and then the final lettering, that took about 9 months to do because I was just not there mentally, and there were so many other changes going on in my life, and it was really hard for me to focus. But I actually have to give a big shout out to the editor who stepped in for Dak, Chuck Pino.
Yep.
Chuck really helped me out of a dark place with both Eastern Shin and another project that Dak and I were collaborating on together called Warline, which I'll be really bringing to Kickstarter in January.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that one.
Which, by the way, speaking of Warlion, very, very close to getting to that point where you're about to go ahead and release the, I think you said 12 page, wasn't it?
First 12 pages to all the backers. So basically, you guys are all going to get the first 12 pages as a PDF file, and it's basically the same creative team who is on Eastern Shin. So I would say everyone but the colorist is different, but it's essentially the same team. And it's a very different story. It's not historical, but it is still a very personal story to me, and it's something that I'm really excited to share. And it's going to be a 3-issue story. If it's successful, and I'm happy doing it, there will be plans for more. But it's a really great it's a really huge undertaking for me, because this is like the first time as a creator that I'm I'm veering off of history and showing that I have a little bit of range outside of just simply retelling stories that have already occurred. So this will be an interesting test for me, and I'm excited about it.
We get to see the Unstoppable Man off the chain. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so inspired by folks like Brian Polito and Tom Hutchinson, who essentially are doing what I'm doing. They and have been doing it a lot longer and have found a tremendous amount of success. They are the benchmarks. They are the guys that I look to on the days when I'm like, is this even possible? Because they're out there doing it and they're finding success. They're going to Kickstarter. They're constantly out there going to conventions, doing whatever is necessary to build their fan base and to connect with their fans. That's what it's all about.
Exactly, exactly. Now, connecting with your fans, you're actually doing some variant covers for this one, and you've got a few on here. One of them I debated on putting on there towards the end because I know the crowd that he brings into it and everything, and it's just a bunch of people that are going to have a lot of comments on here saying a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad,
Sure.
but that girl can draw. Man, circles. Woof. Anyway, uh, we're going to show some of these covers. As we do, I want to ask you a few other questions while I'm showing these up here.
Sure.
So start off with the first one here. And I believe this is On's work, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, this is Anvu.
Yes.
Anvu is just absolutely a tremendously wonderful, talented artist. I absolutely loved working with her. She's such an inspiration to me. She's just constantly going at it and making things work. And I absolutely adore this cover. We're going to do a whole series of these
Nice.
with future issues too. So she's absolutely fantastic. So the next one will have a different theme. And I love the way this cover turned out. This is just such a dynamite, and she's going to be doing a stretch goal story for Warlion, which is going to be so badass.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way we're presenting it, it's like a martial arts pamphlet. And I've actually asked Chuck to do the writing of it. So I'm kind of like taking a step back. I'll be the editor for it, but I'm giving them free range because once I saw this cover from Anvu and I read some of her work, I was like, you know what? She knows what's up. Her and Chuck, they need the credits and the ability to showcase just how talented they are. So I'm for the first time ever that I'm actually hiring a writer to step in and do something. So I'm really that should tell you what my thoughts are on Chuck, and same thing with Anvu.
So if Chuck's writing this, does that mean we're going to have an edited and non-edited version, like censored, non-censored?
Oh, I'll be editing him. But Chuck he talk about someone who's unstoppable. He's the kind of guy that when you I get writer's block, my instinct is I need to call Chuck, and Chuck will help you through whatever writer's block you have. That's the very purpose of an editor, and he'll help you get to where you need to go with the story. And there's never anything that he's not willing to take on. He never looks at something and says, yeah, there's no way around that. He will always find a way through it. It's really incredible. I absolutely love Chuck.
All right, so after each one of these, I'm going to ask you a question, and it is not to do with the series or anything. It's just to kind of delve into who you are and kind of get some more behind the scenes things going on here. So you enjoy martial arts quite a bit. You live the life and everything. So I have a very important, very serious question for you. Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do?
Well, if I was a traditionalist, I would say Miyagi-Do, but Cobra Kai has such a better logo, so Cobra Kai. What if I said neither and said Eagle Fang? I'm actually watching season 5 right now, so it's so funny that you mentioned that. But Cobra Kai, do or die.
Then make sure you don't go to my YouTube channel and click on Cobra Kai right now because I spoiled everything for the entire season. I didn't. Well, I mean, of course, at the very beginning, spoiler alerts all over the place, letting everybody know. But I did my reviews on there, so yeah, I'm still reeling from that one. That yeah, it's good.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
All right, so we got that one. So okay, we're still good. I'll still keep you on the show because I agree with that one. Did I mention there's right and wrong answers? No pressure or anything.
Yeah. There's multiple choice.
Let's go with the next cover we got right here, and this is a very different one that you got on for this one.
Yes, it is. This wonderfully talented, beautiful lady here is Annie Mia. And I reached out to her a year ago because I wanted to do a cosplay cover and I wanted to have a Korean cosplayer do it. And so I reached out to a couple friends. They recommended 2 people. She was one of them. And what I really loved about working with Annie Mia is that she really took the project seriously. She read all the books. She spent a lot of time working on that background, working on that robe. And here's the interesting story about this robe. I actually asked her after we settled it and everything. I said, can we work it into the contract that you would come to a convention dressed as her? And she's like, the problem with that is it's a really hard it's really hard to pull off, because she actually had to tape the robe to herself in order to take that picture. So I can only imagine how much time it took for her to actually prepare, for her to actually like stand there, for all the F ups and everything that probably happened along the way. And yet she still stuck through it and gave me this wonderful cover. And its significance is huge once you read issue 10. But this is our B cover, and I'm so proud of it. I hope I can work with her again in the future. Absolutely wonderful experience working with Annie Mia, and she's got a legion of fans. She's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. And it's a very different cover, but it is not cheesecake because it is not misleading, because it definitely has a character in there, because I believe I've already seen that character already.
Yeah, she's actually on the background.
Okay.
She's the main female character in our story.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that a lot of publishers were saying when they read the first issue of Visention is, there's not any women in your book. We don't want to publish your book. So when Dak came on, he's like, we need female characters, and Jin became our female character. And what we did with her over the years has just been really ridiculous. And everything comes to a culmination in this issue. There's a major development in her arc, and I'm just so excited to see what everyone thinks about it.
All right, so we got one cover removed. That means it's time for a question. Let me put my finger on the eject button over here. No pressure again. The question is, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah, it's not my go-to, but if someone like puts pineapple and Canadian bacon on a pizza, I'll be fine. There has to be Canadian bacon on it. Otherwise, I just will kind of be like, and then it also depends on how hungry I am.
There you go.
If I'm like starving, then yeah, fine. And if I really don't like it, I'll just pick off the pineapples and eat them separately. But
that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna judge.
There you go. All right. So yeah, it's just like Squid Game going right now.
I love it. I love it. I'm just waiting for the point where I end up getting shot in the back of the head. I'm really excited about it.
Well, before we get there, we want to go ahead and show another cover.
Oh, Marissa Pope.
Marissa Pope.
Yes, the legendary Marissa Pope. I reached out to Marissa. Gosh, I don't even remember when. Oh, it was around February. I was on a show that Tom was doing to promote his action figure for Critter. Mm-hmm. And I had a chance to kind of talk with Marissa, and I messaged her after the show, and I said, Marissa, it was a pleasure doing the show with you. I'd love to talk to you and see if we could work something out. It for a while, it kind of seemed like she just didn't have time because she was just so busy. She kept putting things off. I was supposed to originally launch my Kickstarter in April, and I ended up doing it in August. So we come to May, and she's like, I'm sorry, it's May, I'm sorry. And she's like, I just need another week. And I'm like, take your time. So finally June comes around, and she knocks this, she sends me this sketch. And I was just like, you know what, go with it. And anybody who's a fan of Marissa Pope is going to absolutely love this cover. Marissa absolutely loved working on it. She loves doing Asian themed, art. And I could tell she had fun with it. And we hired Headwind to do the colors for it. And Headwind did an amazing job. Absolutely loved working with both of them. They were a wonderful pair.
Nice. Very nice. All right. So we're going to remove this one. That means it is time.
It's question time. That's what I'm excited about. I don't want to talk about my work anymore. I talk about that too much. Give me some.
All right. I'm going to give you one, and this is probably going to go into all kinds of sub-question attire here or whatever, but Marvel or DC?
Oh, Marvel. There's no rabbit holing here. I'm Spider-Man all the way. Stan Lee is my idol. Probably wouldn't be in this industry if it wasn't for him. I find that Marvel's characters are a lot more human. It's more about the people than the heroes. Whereas I love DC characters, and I love I love me some Batman. I love me some Superman. But the DC characters are more about their alter egos and less about the people behind the mask. Like Bruce Wayne is pretty. He's the fake personality. Batman's the real personality. The same thing with Clark Kent. Clark Kent is the disguise. But I think it all depends on what you do. So if I'm being truly honest, I'm neither a Marvel or DC guy. I'm for good storytelling. So give me a good Batman story and give me a good Spider-Man story, and I'll read them both and I'll love them both. That's how I am.
Oh, you are 3 for 3 on this Squid Game.
Look at that. No one shoots me in the back of the head yet. I'm the old guy at the end of the show. Oh, spoiler alert. Oh.
All right, so we got another cover to show here, and this is the one that, man, this chick can draw some circles. Woo! If you don't know about Steph Wilson, look her up because she can do some stuff.
Well, I was held at gunpoint. I know I keep bringing that up. The guns everywhere, right? Gosh, I shouldn't even use that word, but
not while you're at the con.
Jokes aside, though, Steph Wilson is truly one of the hardest working people in comics, and I've seen it. He's my dead zone strategy, straight up. I will say it right now. So, what if anybody doesn't know what a dead zone is? It's the middle or the period of your Kickstarter where things just completely die, and you're not getting any backers. You're actually losing backers. It's really demoralizing. So when I went into this campaign, I said, I need to have a dead zone strategy. And I spoke with Chuck and we were like, let's bring Steph on to do an extra variant and we'll release it when we get into the dead zone. So this variant cover was planned and finished before we even hit that launch button. We put it up there specifically to launch when things died down. And it's a controversial cover. We actually got, I got some flack for it. Yeah, Steph and Carrie Ann, they just did an amazing job. I absolutely loved working with them. And Steph is just one hell of a promoter. He's out there pushing this campaign right now every single day. He actually, when he posted this cover, it got 10,000 likes. And you know how many backers I got from it? Like 13. Like, you know, but nevertheless, I love the fact that this artwork is out there, that him and I collaborated and with Carrie and put something out there together. The three of us put something out there together, and it's out there for everyone now to enjoy. And it was such a pleasure working with Steph. He's fantastic. He's very professional, and he understands this business on multiple platforms. He's just really great. Multi-tiers.
Exactly. And I give Steph hell, but I tell you right now, Steph, he dishes it out just as much as he takes it. And he has no problem with that. He is a great guy, just like you said, very professional. He will give the shirt off his back to pretty much anybody, as long as you've never tried to stab anybody else in the back, including just him. And he sees a lot more than people give him credit for. So, yeah, if you burn a bridge on that end, it's burned, and you don't want to do that because he's one of the good guys that's out there that is good to have on your team. So it is, I will say this, and please don't record me on, oh, shoot, I'm recording, never mind.
It's all right.
But it is awesome that you have Steph
I'm
working with on this, because you and him being a team on this particular project, I love seeing that. And I will never hear to the end of that from Steph, I guarantee you.
He will forever be my dead zone strategy. He is my secret weapon. I absolutely love Steph. He's fantastic. One of the greats. Love
absolutely.
We'll see it. We'll see a Warline variant from him too.
And I do not understand why you're getting flack on this, except for the fact that maybe the katana was a little short.
No. Actually, it was meant to be a knife because she uses a knife. But no, someone in Korea got offended. They said she looks Japanese. I'm like, I don't see the Japanese, but I don't see the Korean. You know, I don't know why this is such a big deal.
I didn't realize that she had the look on her face until now. I'm not going to lie.
You know, Koreans are very conservative. So, especially when it comes to someone like Yi Sun-shin, who's their greatest hero.
Right.
So, for them, it would be like someone making a porn with Jesus in it. It would be very controversial.
Yep.
Like that's how they hold Yi Sun-shin. So, someone posted that they don't know what this cover has to do with Yi Sun-shin, and it has nothing to do with Yi Sun-shin directly. It has to do with Jin, the character. This book is about her. This issue is about her. It's still very much Yi Sun-shin's book, but this is her story now. And that's why we did it. When else am I going to get to do a cool cosplay cover that's going to get all you booby loving readers to finally buy my book and read the frickin' thing? I mean,
yeah, because I'm going to go ahead and spoiler alert, guys. Look, there's actually pages in between the covers. I know, I just messed that all up for everybody. There's actually pages that you read in pretty colors and words. It's cool.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. All right, it's question time. Question time.
All right, he's ready for question time.
Question.
All right, this one is kind of a little more complex one, so here we go. You are given a time capsule where you can go back in time. Good, great, wonderful. You're excited about it. You can only make one trip, and the trip only lasts for 12 hours. What are you doing?
I'm going to spend another day with my grandfather.
Do what?
I'm going to go back in time and spend a day with my grandfather.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I made a graphic novel about him.
Yes.
And I know you picked it up. Mark's A Tale of Neglect. My grandfather was a very accomplished person. He was incredibly intellectual, just a really wonderful human being. And when I was younger, I took for granted the time I had with him because I was a kid and he hated video games. He hated comics. In fact, when he found out that I was making a comic about him, he was like, I hope I die before it comes out. And it's true. I always tell that to people whenever they don't buy Marks. I always tell them that story so that they don't feel bad about saying no. But I would just like to have a conversation with him and just to tell him how much I love him and miss him. If I ever had that, that would be my first thing for sure.
There was really no right or wrong answer on that one, but that was the best answer that you could possibly.
Now, no one could definitely. No one's going to shoot me in the back of the head now.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was kind of. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of rigged because I want to see the rest of the series. So you have to be alive to do this.
Yes, of course. But you could lock me into a room where I'd be forced to sit in there until I finish writing everything. You'll be waiting a long goddamn time too, and I better get some Little Caesars. But
okay, there you go.
We're good.
We can do that. Hey, we've had a great time talking about your works that you've been doing, your con appearances, things that are going on. The fuel that's underneath you, things that you're working on in the future. The main thing that I want to focus on right now and letting everybody know, you've got a campaign going right now, which is on for another, I believe, 4 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, by the time you air this, it's going to be 3 days. So
3 days, yes.
Yeah. So we're beyond funded. We have, and I'm underselling this right now. I'm not adding enough. I'll get to the urgency in a moment, but in terms of how I'm feeling right now, I'm feeling very calm. We have 187 backers. My goal is to hit 200 by the time we end this campaign. We're at nearly $9,000, $8 away from hitting $9,000. If we hit $10,000, we unlock that stretch goal. And here's the urgency aspect of it. All of those variant covers that you showed off throughout this entire show, Phil, those are just going to get limited print runs. So if I get an order of 25, I may print up 50 and that's it. I'm not going to do thousands of these books. We're doing very limited print runs and you can only get them on this Kickstarter. Or if I'm going to go to a convention and sell them, I'm going to sell them for inflated prices. I'm going to mark them up because there's only so many of them in existence. I might send some of them off to CGC. You know how it works. So, this is the time to jump on it because now is the time when you could get these covers for only $15. And the Anemia cover has been a real hot one. The Steph Wilson cover is blowing up on the internet. That one is going to be super hot. And the next time Steph and I do a convention and we're in the same neck of the woods, I'm going to do a special cover for that. So lots of great stuff in the works. And
nice.
But this is why you want to jump on this campaign right now.
Exactly. And I want to go ahead and go right off what he's saying right here with the urgency that's on there. to go ahead and tell you right now that anyone go take a look at this. The Kickstarter link is right here. It is embedded in the feed and anywhere that you're watching this right now. The thing is, though, keep in mind, there is no pressure to go on here. If you don't have the money to back something, nobody's ever pressuring you on anything, but it costs nothing to use the power of the finger and hit that share button.
Absolutely.
And go ahead and get this shared out to everybody that's out there. And anybody who has backed this, anybody, including myself, because I've already shared it as well, get those shares out there on top of being a backer as well. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to do more shares out there. You never know who it's going to land in front of, who may be looking for just this. This will be the one thing that, will actually complete what they've been looking for in a certain collection, or they've heard about this from all the way across the world. There's no telling. I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon that's happening, literally, and you could get a piece of it to go ahead and get into it. I highly recommend getting in here. To say this has the Demon Seal of Approval is taking it very, very lightly. Easily within my top 10 of indie books all time. There is no denying that whatsoever.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But the call to action is definitely there. Y'all need to go over there, take a look at it, see what you think. Whenever you do back, comment. Let Henri know what you think about this. Tell him what you think about, the extra covers that are on there. If there's something you want to see on future, issues that are coming out with different covers or whatever, give him ideas. He would love to hear these things. The point is, for the more comments that you put on Kickstarter after you've backed, that algorithm gets popped every single time. So it helps put him closer to the top where more people can see him. So make sure and keep that in mind. Shares and comments, again, cost you nothing, but you can go ahead and get in there and take care of that and help him out with those as well.
And you know what the best part about reaching the top is that once you get there, someone pushes you off and you fall back down to the bottom.
Well, I mean, technically you're the unstoppable man twice over now because of what you do in selling, and also you went through 4 questions and survived. So
yes, wow, this is a very good point.
Yeah, you've got the immunity idol. I don't know how else to present that. I mean, it's done. You have it.
Thank you.
You can't get voted off the island. It's not happening.
Long shots in my corner.
But that being said, we're about to go ahead and close this out for the evening. We've had a great show talking to you about this. I want everybody to reach out to you, find out what's going on, comment on here. Let us know what you think about this campaign, what you think about what's going on. If you're unfamiliar with the story and you don't want to get spoilers on here, but you want to talk and find out more about it, reach out to Henri. He will talk to you. If you want to reach out to me because Henri's busy with something or whatever, I will talk to you and still not give you spoilers because I don't do that. I only give spoilers whenever I can, whenever it's later on and I have permission to do so, and give so many spoiler alerts you're tired of hearing it. So that being said, reach out, have some fun, get this thing pushed out there, hit those share buttons, get the love out there for this thing, and let's go ahead and finish this thing strong. And the way we're going to finish this strong tonight is something I have been dying to say for so many years because it is your tagline and I love using it only whenever you're on with me, and that is onward to victory.
Hell yes, brother. Onward to victory. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to go ahead and put you backstage. Thank you for being here.
Sir.
I'm going to do a closing statement real quick with the outro, and I'll see you here in just a moment.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me go ahead and shave my head real quick and get back into character because that thing is really hot. Woo! So, the Unstoppable Man, Henri Compton, is on here. I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different. It's always based on my guest and what the discussion is, and I always come up with something on the fly, and I did that as well with tonight. And it's always based on one word that comes to mind, and one word that comes to mind as soon as I had Henri on here and we started talking, heart. It's all about what you put into what you're going to get out of. That being said, not only does he have the heart to go into this, to create something that was basically controversial on the other side of the world and had to really watch his steps on what he was doing, on how he was doing it, and be so meticulous on all the details, but in how it's presented, marketed, promoted, everything, because there's so many eyes on him for this. Now, for most people, that'd be too much stress, too much pressure. They would crack underneath it. It'd be just way too much to go under. He used the pressure to go ahead and push forward, and pushed into where now this brand is flying high. And I mean that very literally. He is selling out of most of the cons he's in. You heard 103 based on against, I think it was like 20 cons that did not sell out. Those are good odds. In Vegas, that would be some serious money making stuff going on right there. So, yeah, very good odds. That being said, it's all about the heart. If he didn't have the heart that he was putting into this, he wouldn't have near the passion that was showing up on the pages. There wouldn't be the pulse that's in the books, and there wouldn't be the love that's going out to every one of his followers and fans that are out there already and moving forward. So the call to action's there. Go ahead and hit that link, get over there to Kickstarter, find out what's going on with this, let him know what's going on, let me know what you think about it as well. Do what you can to go ahead and share this out. It costs nothing. Power the finger, the right one, hit that share button, and you never know with that. So that being said, we had a great show, great guest, hell of a time, and we're ready to do this again here very shortly. I am more than pumped to be back. Henri helped me remember some things along with this as well. Every time I learn some stuff myself whenever I do these shows, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. So until then, Demon Phil, and I love saying this after every show, keep it indie, y'all.
Settle into sockets, flip the switch and watch them run.